Welcome in, everybody. As we get into this, what is it today? Wednesday evening live. A lot to discuss. XRP had a phenomenal day, pushing out past the resistance that we were stuck under around that $1.41 level for a little bit of time. Now, in order for this to break up even higher, we would have to break, as we broke so far, but we would have to hold that $1.41 level. And then it would open up the range to about $1.48 and then try to push out towards that $1.56. We had some breaking news here. I don't know how that's going to react towards crypto. Maybe that's the perfect time for this little small pullback that's happening as they refuse the resolution to the war in Iran, supposedly. So that vote got catered down. So I don't think they're going to stop this war anytime soon. But remember, you're not trying to chase green candles here. So our objective here, our job this evening, and just the overall narrative is that we're going to try to figure out how we get into the next stage. We're going to look at what we need to do to hold. I'm sorry about my voice. I've been doing a lot of work. I had my live today. This morning I had to teach a Zoom class that is shown on YouTube if anybody's interested. There's 11 classes so far. So there's 11 different classes to watch so far if you want to be a part of it. There's information with that in the video description below and our pinned comments in this very chat. And then yesterday we did like 4 hours of live, so my voice is a little tired. I've been busy today. My son had his GI doctor, which actually went freaking unbelievably good, so I'm proud of him. He's napping right now. He was tired when he got home from school, but he was very happy to get his cars. I bought him a 20 pack, and I thank everybody in the earlier session who wanted to do something special for him. So I did honor the wishes of my audience, and I went out and bought him a 20 pack of cars. And he was very happy about it. Like, he put them next to his chair that he sleeps in because he got into an accident when he was younger, and he had to wear what the hell did they call it? I don't remember what they called it, but his legs had to stay out and he couldn't lay down when he was a baby at 6 months old when he broke his femur. So he's always slept in like this little rocking style chair. He doesn't like to lay in a bed. He got so used to sitting up that that's what he does. So he's sleeping right now, but he put it next to him in his chair. So I was happy about that. And some would be like, well, why don't you just take a break this evening? I just think it's too important to take a break. I have too much respect. Like I always say, for this audience to not be here when we're in a volatile moment. The fact that we're over $1.41 speaks volumes. We're still below that $1.48, and I really tried to emphasize what was going on in this imagery that I used this evening. You can see XRP must hold support at $1.41. You see a bunch of the XRP people down there on basically the moon, I guess you could say. You're looking at Earth. But we need to hold that $1.41, push through that $1.48, and ultimately take care of that $1.56 descending triangle to get up in that CME FEG, what I could consider a breakaway gap right now. But I tried to do this clever so that it might spark some interest in this evening's live. It took a while to get this picture right with AI's help, but it finally got to what I wanted. So hopefully that helped to paint a picture of what's going on here. And it really is painting a real picture. Like, that's what needs to happen. We look at XDC for a little bit of guidance as it's still trying to figure out its next objective. Right now, it's done exactly what it really wants to do in this hold candle in the daily. Looks like a hammer candle. I mean, there's not much wick to the downside. It's mostly pointing up, which means the bulls are in control right now. Unless we lose this support structure at about 348. So that's a guiding stone to see now. Does the rest of crypto now, after this close, end up coming in and do approximately the same thing? Right now, I would expect XRP sitting at just about $1.44. It's a tricky spot right now. It's tricky still. It's doing what I want it to do. However, it's back within this liquidity zone and was unable to push past that upper tier level that pushes out to $1.48 as of yet. Doesn't mean it won't. It just means as of right now. We didn't even come up really to that $1.48 200 day all the way. So a very big thing we need to see here is how we react if we do in fact come back to $1.41, which that's not a guarantee. That's just a level that we really need to hold. Preferably, I would like to hold a little bit higher. I don't really want to come back to $1.41. I would just like to use this as a hammer or an inverted hammer. Notice there's no downward wick, which means the bulls are firmly in control right now. But this could change. You know, this could always change. We've still got an hour and 18 minutes. Let's just say this pulled down too far. And then we create a bottom like almost like a candle. Like how when you light a candle, you've got the candle wick on the bottom. That could change the narrative. But right now, you have an upward pointing wick. No pull down in the wick at all. And this is theoretically a hold candle right now after a volatile move up. This is where the market's trying to figure out, are the bulls in control or are there bears swarming in the areas? And is that going to send us back in the other direction? As of right now, we've done a remarkable job staying in this area. But like I said, there was some news that came out just now on Capitol Hill that said that this war isn't going anywhere. And it's a perfect timing for where it's at right now. So just something that we need to pay attention to. A lot of things have done a good job here to break past some of these early resistance. I can even point to V-chain coming through this downtrending resistance in white and now firmly over the top. We had been getting rejected here for a while. And now this inverse pattern's playing out. And now we just need to make sure we hold. Right now, I think there's still room over the top. We're still playing towards, I'm trying to get some information out before I do the intro. I still think that we have the potential here. I know we had the ABC, blah, 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 head and shoulders right now. Can't push past the right shoulder as of yet, but it takes steps. But I still think we have a chance at this expansion wave. And I do think I've marked this down pretty much as good as you can to show the expansion out possibly to E. I know we had an ABC corrective wave that created a head and shoulders, but that D wave held. And we're also in a very profound descending, what almost looks like an overextended wedge style, but it's right now I think we're looking great. Now, whether or not we come back down, and this is the other scenario, like you could literally come all the way back down here and back test the top of this. I wouldn't advise it, but we could. Look how volatile XDC was yesterday. You know, very volatile. Well, the reason why Furby and because of what happened with Barron Trump yesterday, everybody knows that there's going to likely be a draft based on what was said yesterday. Because they said Barron Trump won't be drafted because he's too fucking tall. I know. People got pissed when I said that. I lost 17 subscribers yesterday from my channel right after I said it. I kid you not. I went from 49,747 to 49,725 subscribers after I said that. So why else would they make that statement unless they weren't? I'm telling you right now, this is going to turn into something we haven't seen since our parents. And it's by design. Like, I don't think they would have said that unless there was some kind of draft. But I don't want to get there. Forget all that bullshit. I know I can't be drafted. I tried to get in the Marines when I was in my early 20s, but my eyes didn't allow it. And obviously I broke my back now, but when I was 23, but they wouldn't let me in. I passed all the ROTC and all the testing. But when they did my eyes, they said, "Excuse me, sir, you can't see out your left side. How are you going to know who's the enemy?" And I said, "Oh, shit, you're kind of right about that." Oh, no, I know you're not saying Furby not. I understand that, my friend. I didn't mean to come off like I was thinking that you're lying. I was just saying I'm still trying to wrap my brain around the fact that they made that comment almost out of left field. Like, hey, guys, once this happens, don't... But anyhow, that's either near nor there. We got a lot to talk about with the charts. I'm very, very happy that we're able to diagnose it the way we have. But now is the most critical part of this push up. And Nick, I know you've been watching this. We're at that extremely critical spot for Bitcoin where it actually tried to push out of this gap area. And if we do, we can come up to that CME area. Well, it's actually more than just a CME. There was more than just that up here. But let's just call it for what it is. There's a big area up here. But I don't want to keep that up there. We've got a big area up there. I don't even need to put it as a futures. That's just, call it that the liquidity zone. You know, we need to get above there. That would be the next area to push. We figured 72, 73K was the early target out of that descending wedge. And now we're trying to build this up. So Now we need to see what kind of consolidation happens, which is the main reason why I came back on tonight, even though it's been a long day. Body's a little sore too. I think not smoking cannabis is starting to affect my my injuries, so I got to figure something out. Because that used to be a stress relief for my muscles and stuff. But obviously, I haven't smoked in almost 2 weeks now. Might change that later. I don't know. But I gave myself a break for a little bit. But I can definitely tell I'm a lot sore when I can't relax with cannabis. And it kind of sucks, actually. But anyhow, Dan Marginow, welcome in. And thanks for being in town already 6+ months with the XP Predictor. Mark Caston, thanks for being in town over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad, along with the Cannabis Podcast. Crypto Cooter, who is a very trusted mod in here. I greatly appreciate that. Also in town for over 1 year. Victor, welcome in along with Eric. Thank you so much for being a loyal part of this community. I've seen you in here a lot now. I love it. Jay for Mix, second month with Dust at House Crypto News. Silver Days, welcome in. Mark Caston, I believe I already said hello to you, my friend. Victoria, wait a minute, Victoria. Victor, welcome in. What's going on, my friend? Nick, Furby Trades, very trusted mod in here. Very influential with the charts. Very, very influential. I was just looking at XRP. Also just got home $1.42 has to hold on the daily close. Exactly. If it comes down below that area, it's going to look a lot like it. You're absolutely right about that. On February 26th, when we had that fake out, what was that, the $1.65 maybe when it pulled all the way back down? Oh, no, that was, I think. Oh, I'll have to look to see exactly what that came. But I know exactly what you're talking about. John Boogathorpe, welcome in, and thanks for being in town already 2+ years with the XP589 Moon Badge. Christopher Brown, good evening. What's good, my friend? William Hayes, welcome in, and thanks for being in town already 6 months with the XP Predictor. Nick Nack, Patty Whack, give a dog a bone. Welcome in. Positive vibes as always. And yes, please smash that like button. Appreciate that. Tango, thanks for being in town already for over 1 year with the I Told You So Badge. Good evening to you, good friend. Let's see. Elmer J. Fudd, welcome in. No one will comply. You sure people were lining up to get... Yeah, exactly. Everybody says no one will comply. That's a joke. I hate to break it to you guys. That's a joke. That's never going to... Are you kidding me? We couldn't even stand... We comply with everything. No one's got any balls. The government tells us what to do. We say how high do we jump and how much do we skin our ass on the way out. Nobody has any balls in this country. It's just the way it goes. And that's just me being honest and real. No one's ever going to do what they should. They're just going to keep falling in line. Too many people watch the news. Too many people are manipulated through the narrative and the headlines and all that trash. Look how many people can't even trade and think for themselves, and they listen to the fudsters because they tell them what they want to hear. Like, that's a big indictment. Big indictment. But yeah, I don't want to talk like that, but it's true. This country has no balls. The people of this country have no balls. And that's just the way it goes. And, you know, it is what it is. We were conditioned this way, and only a few of us have been able to break out of the conditioning, and not very many of us at that. Let's see. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Armor for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And thanks for being... very trusted in here. Gifting a sub to XBL Pumped. First month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on an emoji badge. Dan Marginow, they're not, the younger generation is not on board with this war. But they got no guts or heart. The new generation is a bunch of sleazeballs. They couldn't stand up for themselves if it's a man versus a woman debate. You think they're going to stand up to the government? No, we have a bunch of safe space pussies in this era, and that's exactly why they're going to go march off to war. They have no stones. And the women who beg to be like men, they're going to get shipped off too, and I've been saying it for a decade. Don't cave in as a woman and give your rights away, because you're going to end up fighting like a man alongside with the man, and you don't want to work that dirty job, I promise you. So that's the problem. The new generation's not on board. The new generation doesn't even want to work. They have no heart or soul. They have no integrity, most of them. Everybody's... the new generation falls in line. That's why we're at where we're at. The older generation taught my generation, and my generation was so stupidly blind And I tried for decades and I got railroaded, even in high school, junior high, college, everywhere, to where you start to become a silent mute when it comes to these situations. And you just try to push ahead and you understand by everybody's obedience, you can find a way to prosper when everybody else is suffering. And that's no fun either. That's not the way. That's why I started doing this, to try to bring as many along as I could on the side of good, but also on the side that's going to succeed. It's very lonely on the top of a mountain, especially when you understand what's going on. Let me tell you, it's been a very lonely 40 years, 42 years of my life, because ever since I was about 10, I understood what was going on. And it's been very lonely because you only can take too big of a beating until you stop trying to help everybody when it comes to understanding world order. So the new generation, they're patsies. And if you're part of the new generation, prove me fucking wrong. This is your job, to prove me wrong. Good evening. 5:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan on the top of the hill of truth. And yes, it's going to cause me people to unsubscribe to my channel again, and that's okay. But sometimes we need a call for action. We need somebody who has stones to walk through here. We need somebody in the new generation to do something. Do something. Otherwise, you're going to fall in line. You already have. Everybody wants government assistance. How about you take that shit and wipe your ass with it? Once you rely on the government, it's over. So anyhow, that's about where we're at. I'm not very happy with what's going on in the proclamation of war, especially because I have young kids. Although my son's special needs, so he won't be going to war. But I do have a nephew who's 13, who's very able-bodied, and guess who's going to be shipped to war when this happens, if this ends up happening in a couple of years. I understand it's going to take time, but it's being drawn up. You got to have some kind of digital, you got to have something to take the masses' attention away from the digital era to put us into the digital era. You hear what I'm saying? So there's got to be some worldwide distraction that allows this. How did we implement the gold standard? And how did we implement the income tax? And how did we implement the you see? So the propagation of war always succeeds the next change in society. It always happens. So the only way to really pull the wool over our eyes is to have the advancement of war. And then we'll just bitch, piss, and moan on the home front, even though we have no freaking clue what's going on. You should see all the uneducated people trying to talk about the war. They wouldn't even know what a war was if they fucking walked in front. They wouldn't know any of it. Nobody does. You're going to tell me this country who believes and is manipulated by the right versus left is going to not go to war? Are you shitting me? This whole country still thinks the right versus left is real. It's insanity. But you want me to believe that we're going to be fundamentally sound enough not to go with that? I highly, highly disagree with everybody who says that. Sorry, that's my 42 years of life in this country speaking. We're not the land of the home and the free. We're the land of the manipulated and, most misinformed out of everybody in the world. That's why we walk around like our shit don't stink, but we're full of shit, kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody from other countries knows exactly what I'm talking about, just watching people talk. Even if they're just a part of the community, they can see what's going on. But anyhow, I gotta... Let's take a breath. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. One more time for my own sanity. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. And unfortunately, they propagated the advancement of war again today and rejected a resolution. So it almost is perfect timing. Crypto goes up. Crypto hits resistance. Now we have to figure out what crypto is going to do. It's kind of funny how this works every single day, as if the little chopping block just sits there every single time. So, what do we think? What do we think? The one good thing about this in the daily is the fact that you could draw a conclusion that we have an inverted hammer because we have such a wick pointing up, not much pointing down. Nice candle body here. For XDC, still on the top side, still hasn't finished the C wave in my opinion. So that's going to be a big part of what's happening. XRP, I mean, it's only an hour and 3 minutes, but it might as well be a freaking eternity when you're looking at this. Dropped down 4 cents now from just where it was at a short time ago. And this candlestick, now that it's below the bearish confirmation zone again, this could get ugly again if it breaks below. Right now, the bulls are in control. However, you see this pull down here at the end of the day now? Remember what we talked about at the start? It was looking fine, but now if it decides to pull through, now all of a sudden you see bears entering the chat. That's the bears. You see that little wick on the bottom? Now the bears are stepping in. Now we better find some buyers quickly, or this is going to turn into an unbelievably unwarranted, but very much expected reversal candle with what's happening right now. So, big choice to be made. Even bigger choices to be made by all of us outside of the charts. And let's just see if we can fall in the proper alignment here. Did I scare away some people? Yeah, the very people I was talking about just left. So, you know, they know not what they don't know. And we shouldn't judge too harshly. Although I came in hot, heavy, and very steamy today. Apparently. I just want somebody to stand up. Somebody to acknowledge that shit ain't what it looks like. And we can do better. Try flowers CBD without THC or very low levels and scale back into it. I don't think I'll have an issue if I just go back in. It's just I haven't convinced myself to do it yet. You know, I don't really like all the chemicals and stuff that I've noticed that are very much predominantly in the strands now that it's in the dispensaries. You know, it's throwing me off a bit. No, I did find some that is, if I wanted to take a shot and order it, Julie was looking for the more organic stuff that people, that they are not allowed to use pesticides. It's a little more expensive. So you don't have to worry about a draft. We have enough patriots that volunteer. Incorrect. That's incorrect. You always have to worry about a draft. You couldn't have enough people when you're putting people to slaughter. Remember that. How many different countries are we in right now? If this advances, you're not just going to be in Iran. You'll be in a lot of other places. You'll be in Israel. You'll be in Germany. You'll be in China. Hell, we'll probably take out Japan. We'll probably have some kind of beef with India. We'll probably go after some of the reserves in Africa. So it doesn't just end in one spot. Do we even have enough patriots, or do we just act like patriots? Because I don't see a lot of patriots anymore. I see a lot of people who pretend they're patriots, but they never actually act like patriots. A patriot's not supposed to just go along with what a government says that is leading us to slaughter. No, a patriot's supposed to stand up for what's right. I see a lot of people in the military today that are just going along and they will put us all in lockdown. Think about it. How do we expect our own people to fight the government when the soldiers are willing to walk along with the government and kill their own citizens just at an order? An order. An order. An order. And I love and respect everybody in the military, but don't tell me it's not true. I haven't seen a single outpost yet that has told the government to go fuck themselves and stand down against the American people. No, in fact, I've seen them, let's just say, elevate it to a new level when the government says step in and go kill your own citizens, basically, and round them up. I haven't seen anybody go, no, 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 no. I don't want to do this. So I have a very hard time believing that even the military men and women have the stones to go against. They know not what they don't know. They're enlisted and they're doing what they think is right, and that's no fault of their own. But sometimes you have to look around and say, you know what? These are my fellow beings. Wasn't I supposed to be fighting for this country? Why am I going door to door and knocking people out? It's going on all across the country. We don't have to acknowledge it, but it's happening. Our soldiers are going around in many places and rounding people up right now. On our own home front. We don't need anybody else to do it. We're doing it ourselves. And it's a shame. Just go take a look. There's been a lot of stuff that's happened over the last half a decade. There's been a lot of situations where the military's been called in against our own citizens. Look at every time they say there's unrest in the street, who they call in. Look at all the time that peaceful protest. Look who steps in to knock us out. You know? We just got to be honest with ourselves. Just got to be honest with ourselves. But yeah, I mean, I honestly I could talk like this every single day, but I don't want to because it doesn't get us anywhere. It takes us off the point, but it's the truth. We're in a lot of trouble here. Oh, I didn't even see Christopher's comments. I'm pretty sure I'm sure somebody deleted it by now. 'Cause I don't see anything. But yeah, I think you're damn right about that, Ernie. They're paid protesters. Yep. But who do our own military and guard and everybody else take out? Not the paid protesters. Oh no, the ones who are getting pissed off at the paid protesters. That's why I say stay at home. Don't participate in any of that. Because then you're gonna get yourself in trouble. I really gotta stop talking like this anyhow. Um just a hamburger helper says just a fellow Michigander, do you understand all this is a distraction to change our system out from underneath us without our knowledge? Thank you, Tom, for helping me figure this crypto stuff out. I absolutely agree with you that, and you have to have something like this. Holy smokes, hamburger helper. Tom, I was blessed and wanted to send something your way. Keep teaching, brother, and thanks for the info, and God bless. First year and few months in crypto. So thanks for the info. Wow, and a $50 super chat. That is unbelievable. Yeah, I definitely need to step back here. I need to step back. Yeah, I have some RSO. I do have RSO. And it's got no fillers in it at all. It's just got the simple ingredient. And it's got the THC, CBD, CBGA, THCA, CBC, CBN, CBG, THCV. And there's nothing added to it. There's no additives. And that's what I've been using. But it's not the same. I like to get a little release from my brain too, because I don't produce serotonin like a normal person. That's why I have to kind of be careful when I talk like this, because it can send me down a trajectory that I don't want to be. But anyhow, Mr. and Mrs. Stott, welcome in, and thank you so much for being here. Hamburger Helper, thank you so much, my brother from Michigan. Thank you so much for that $50 super chat. That was unbelievably generous. If you're in Michigan, can't grow your own flowers. Yeah, we can. But in Michigan, you can't grow it outside right now. It's too damn cold. So I have to wait until about end of April to May to even be able to start flowering outside. I mean, to start growing outside. And I do it every year, but you can only do so much in the wintertime in Michigan, unfortunately. I could get a grow tent for inside, but I got my kids. I can't do it. And two of them are Julie's kids, so I made a real strict point that I wasn't going to put that in my house. And I only have a 1,200 square foot house. So it'd be very open and obvious. So I sacrifice in that way. I don't want to expose them to it. In Michigan, though, I can grow 10 plants or 12 plants outside legally in my backyard because there's a fence. You have to be fenced in. Sorry I had to step away working on welding a trailer. Oh, you be careful with that, Ernie. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Wow, so long. Yeah, MK Ultra definitely works solo, Jeffy. That's for sure. But yeah, so I'll be growing my flower in the summer like always. But I can't do it right now. It's too cold, unfortunately. I don't live in Florida. Oh, we do have a troll. I think that was probably Christopher. And the only reason I say that, I was trying to be nice to him when he came in. But Christopher was the one, I believe, who made the comment about our religion. So, you got to expect that kind of stuff. Oh, it's a lot of work with 12 plants. I only did 4 2 years ago, and that was a lot. Last year, I only had 1, and it got like 3/4 of a pound. Even that was a lot, though, because there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Tom, have you looked into building an app for this whole community? I just don't have the time nor the ability to do that. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but yeah, in Michigan they would do that too. They had their own department where they had their special vehicles that would literally drive through your side wall if they had to. You know what that guy was talking about? Watch the same video. I didn't see what his comments were right here in this chat, so I'm oblivious. In a shed again, it's too cold, and just to be able to make them run sufficient, it would be a lot in the summertime. I mean, in the wintertime. Okay, so let's move past all of this because we're going to lose our audience. Notice we've already lost 30% of the people in here. Probably my fault, but that's okay. Let's be thankful for what we have. And let's try to move on from the discussion. I know it gets a lot of people angry what's going on and things like that, but that's the point. XRP right now, big moment. I mean, we could end up finding ourselves all the way back down at $1.41, which wouldn't be the best thing in the world. We really want to hold this liquidity area, in my opinion, because absolutely, hustle harder than you. That'd be great. That'd be great because I have to order them. That'd be great. Definitely let me know. I would very much appreciate that. I would even pay you to pick them up. I wouldn't expect you to pay for them out of pocket. Crypto Cruder, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. And thanks for being a very trusted mod. He was disrespectful in regards to Jesus Christ, so I showed him the door. Thank you. Because we already had that comment that I was showing earlier that he really bashed us for, asking for guidance and things like that and wishing for our brothers and sisters who are going through a lot. You have to go to Cali either way. I'll try to watch you for I'll try to watch out for that message. I don't look on Messenger often on Facebook because there's too many people who are scammers. But I'll definitely look out for your message. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, because it's one thing not to be religious, but to put down the religious people. You're not trying to bring that kind of energy in here, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't really want that kind of vibe. I'm trying to do something different. That's why I needed to take a breath, because I was getting a little too much into what we were seeing with the propagation and stuff. And I know a lot of people that their kids now have been enlisted for this war, and they've been given their deployment orders. So, that just tells me it's something deeper. So I just want everybody to be safe. That's all. I want everybody to be safe. But I know you could have, Elmer, but it's not. We shouldn't waste our time on that kind of energy. Look, I already did a horrible job here. This is probably the worst live I've had to start. Some of you will appreciate it, but it took the focus off. We took the focus off. And we're leading into something we probably shouldn't. 30-minute looks horrible right now. Or the 2-hour, I should say. Overbought. We need a breakaway candle. We need a breakout. We need to push out of this area. This is the top part of this very bearish zone. And if we want to push up towards that liquidity zone, there's a big liquidity gap, even if you look at the heat maps. Between that 80,600 and 83,000 roughly, we could still technically come up here into this little bit of a liquidity box where we didn't really trade in, nor have we come back really up to the top part of it. We came close, but we never actually came back up and retested this liquidity box. So that would be the next area of advancement, and that's what we really need to watch out for. Oh, okay, William, I misunderstood you. I see that's exactly why I needed to take a step back. Yes, those are the real patriots. The ones who are just trying to do the greater good, and they're being, enlisted out to fight a war that they may not even want to go to, or they may want to. But yeah, those are the true patriots who are trying to do what they're supposed to do. But remember, we have patriots in our country. But here's what always scared me once I started thinking about it. Aren't the military in Iran or Israel, aren't they just fighting for their own homeland? And then when you go into like Germany, aren't they just fighting for their own homeland? So like, unless they're coming across our borders, I don't believe that we should be going over to their borders. That's my biggest problem with it, because we're going on somebody else's soil. Imagine if Israel came over to the USA and did that, or Germany. What do you think would happen? The nuclear war missile would be fired in 2 seconds. So we always have to give a little bit of grace to other country soldiers too. Like, there's people in my audience that are in the military that were fighting. What am I supposed to say? These are good people and they're fighting for their country. And I've gotten messages, and it's kind of heartbreaking actually, because I'm over here in the USA and they're over there on the other side in the Middle East, and they're just doing what they think is their call to arms as well. So, it's really a weird dynamic when you look at it, because we're if we want to be sovereign as a people, look how many different countries we have that watch. I have like 78 countries that watch this, or 82 now, whatever it is. So that means there's militaries and, army members or whatever their national forces are, and they're fighting for their own country. So how many of you are from the UK that are watching right now in the audience? Can you tell me where you're from if you're not from the USA? Just a couple of you, and this would be a perfect example. Just with 98 people here, watch how many people are going to be from different countries. So they have their own military and their own understanding. Welcome in, Frankie Fresh. I'm so blessed and proud to see you in here, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. I hope Janine is doing just unbelievably well as well. Janine, I love you if you're out here watching. I really do. You and Frankie Fresh are awesome. 1970 legend, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted modernator and in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Much appreciated. I think I want to do something though. There's one person that, and yeah, sometimes the people who have the courage to do what I can't do when I'm doing my live need to be rewarded. And I haven't done this in a while. Thanks, Elmer. You've proved to me that you can be trusted as a mod. Just try to keep the peace, and do what you think is best, and don't overstate your privilege. So you'll see a badge next to your name. You're the first person I've added and about 4,000 subscribers now. So I really appreciate your continued support, my friend. But yeah, sometimes we need to have some kind of stuff. You're welcome, Tom. She loves you, dude, as I do. I appreciate that. I do. I really do, actually. You're welcome, Emmer J. Fudd. Remember, keep the peace. We're keeping the peace, not starting a war within the community. I'm not afraid to take the mod away from people if I have to. Right now, XRP in the 4 hourly still looking okay. We're still looking okay. 2 Ravens is from Canada. Absolutely. So we have someone from Canada in here. Awesome. Crypto Plumber, thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. I much greatly appreciate that. Recruiting Daily, I love it. I love it. Mr. and Mrs. Stott, welcome in. I think I said hi to both of you. Thanks for 6 months. Clam Bellies over 1 year. I already talked to Frankie Fresh and Janine. 2 Ravens over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. U238, thanks for being in Tom's Army, 2nd month with the Dust House Crypto News. Zalem, thanks for your 1st month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. I don't know if I'm going to get the Canton Network. I've already went 40 minutes and I kind of went off topic, and that's my own. You know what? This one's on me. Okay, I created a unit of division in here, which was not okay. That's not, and it wasn't on purpose. It was just I let my personal feelings come out. So that is on me. So nobody else needs to shoulder that. I kind of screwed it up on this live. There's no getting back from it except now house harder than you. That is what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. I couldn't just say it, but that is exactly what I'm getting at. Mm-hmm. That's that's what I'm getting at, honestly. And I appreciate you for saying it so I don't have to say it. You guys can read what he's saying because that's exactly how I feel. Agony trader, make the mods get rid of people that think XRP will ever hit 10K. Yeah, I understand that. But, you know, we got to have people that believe both sides of it just so we can see the retail's general opinion. Was this pump a real move or another takeout? That is what we're trying to watch. If we fall below $1.42, we could kind of stretch it out to $1.41. But if you see us below $1.42 before this close at 7, that is likely going to end up being a strong rejection on a potential breakout attempt. But we're still at 5%. But Frankie, that's a great question because that is exactly what we're trying to figure out right now. It's exactly what we're trying to figure out in real time. Wow, Nick Nack Paddywhack, thanks for the $20 super chat. Just showing up with support. Thanks, Tom. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. How is the volume? Well, as I've stated before, this would be a volumeless push-up for the most part. Remember when I kept saying that? And it's been a volumeless push-up. My problem is we've got one ability here in the 30-minute that's showing us something we kind of have to pay attention to right now. Is this a shoulder M? Would it be a shoulder? Is it starting something like this? Because you can already say top 1, top 2. Now would the shoulder be a third top? Hopefully not. Hopefully not. But this is what we need to rectify. We need it to go boom, boom, and then kind of create a little W here. Or something that forms more like a wedge here. You know, to continue on. Otherwise, it could fall, you know, in a pretty unfortunate way. I'm a medically retired Marine. I'm well aware. Oh, thank you so much for your service, William. I hope that you at least have the solace and grace to be able to, you know, live the best life you can, even though you were injured in duty, and I admire that. And thank you for your service, my brother. Unfortunately, you know, I know you just said you're wise to what someone was saying about our own government, but that's not an indictment on the actual soldiers. See, the soldiers are just doing what they feel are right. And it's what we're taught, you know. So I don't trust volume anymore on XRP due to the futures, options, etc. I know. That's the hard part about all of this. I still like to see it because volume predicts price. But yeah, it can It is tough, man. It's very difficult. And the head and shoulders did not get invalidated as of right now. As of right now, as it stands, we validated that head and shoulders if we can't make it any higher. So now everybody who was part of this move up has to make an educated and informed decision. Do you take your profit? Do you take your profit and let this retest, do what it needs to do? We're breaking down in the shorter time frame. We haven't broken down enough because the hourly has a golden cross. We have a nice cup, or a little cup. And this is a warranted back test. We do need these in the lower time frames, but we cannot come past certain levels on all of this. Otherwise, we would invalidate. We still have a lot of room over the top. So if you bought in prior to this run, that's why I always say you have to make an educated and informed decision whether or not you're going to sell out your profits or if you're going to try to hold through another rally. It's a little unfortunate because things are coming down pretty hard right now. So, you know, that's just something that we're dealing with. But a lot of things are going to try to back test this move out. So right now, I feel like it's like what we seen with XDC yesterday. Everything made its volatile move up, got rejected at resistance areas, and now we need to see if we can hold the support that it finally busted over. And as we've seen with XDC, even though it held, it hasn't been able to do much noise here. Yep, XDC nice and flat after that breakout and back test now, which is technically what I would want to see. It hasn't done much. It had a nice consolidatory move. Now, because it was such a fast breakdown, you could always say, is it going to tap there again? Is it going to hold the 2 hourly? 2 hourly's dumped out pretty much the entire way now. Hourly, though, we're starting to, remember, when you have a dump down, if you can't break the 50% or 70% level, it's just a rejection on the way back up. And as of right now, we're not showing the proper ability to push back over. And now it's created what looks like could be a head and shoulders again. Shoulder, head, possible shoulder. But we would have to confirm this. But as of right now, it's getting shaky. It's getting super shaky. It was exciting earlier when we knew we were railing, but we got rejected right now at that rejection area. And I wrote it in there. That's a liquidity sweep, bearish confirmation zone if rejected. And unfortunately, we just can't get past this area. Now we haven't exactly lost it yet, but we're on the verge of losing it. Eric says, what about Algo? Algo's facing the same situation here. Algo came up, had a nice little boost, but now it's fallen under the first golden cross area, at least briefly, but it hasn't finished off its target, so we're looking for a volatile pullback up. So if you're watching, just be patient here. You know, don't sell out a hand unless it proves to you that it's not okay and that it's a hand worth folding. I'm just saying the way that this is coming down here at the end of the day is not the best thing. We got news again that talked about Iran, how strikes will intensify and expand in coming days. We've had our own government speak at the White House just recently and said that we had no resolution found and this isn't going to end anytime soon. And on cue, the market started to drop. But you can't just say it's a crash. You got to say it's consolidating a move up right now. So let's not act like it's over yet, because we're nowhere close to being over. It's just we want to make sure when we're looking at this that we're not repeating a cycle. We don't want to repeat a cycle, but Bitcoin, if this closes here, it's going to be extremely engulfing to start the next day. At least it engulfed the entirety, and this was what in my opinion, the candle before today looked like a hammer candle. The one today almost looks like, what is it, a spinning top, where you have both sides, sits towards, a small area with the candle body, and the bears or the bulls couldn't get control. So it's going to be very defined on the next. Is that a spinning top? Am I misrepresenting that? I could be. In the weekly. But the last weekly, I mean, it looked okay. So, and now we have a breakout as of right now, but look, we still have 4 days and an hour, so that's a hell of a long time to deal with this. That looks like a perfect inverted hammer, though, which is a bullish continuation, but it also is telling you there was a moment of time where the bears did try to step in, but the wick where it's at right now over the top proves that the bulls are in control as of right now. That would be a beautiful candle on the inverted hammer if that closes like this. We've only got 35 minutes. It looks a lot like it to me. Okay, good. So I'm not just reaching there for the spinning top in the weekly. And I know it's difficult to understand if you don't know the candle formations. That's why I try to speak of them when we fall into them. But a spinning top is defined as a breach up. It pulls back. And then you have wicks on both sides, a small body. It doesn't matter necessarily where it's at, but it's showing you there's a fight where the bulls and the bears could not take control. And as of right now, it's a bullish spinning top, which means we're going to close in a really nice area if the weekly closed right now, and it would engulf this entire, what looks like a hammer candle. I mean, that looks like a nice hammer candle. The daily time frame looks like a nice inverted hammer, which is why I don't want to just say this rally's over. I could still see a little bit more. Yeah, the bottom wick it looks a little bit smaller. Which means there's more top end pressure here as well. It's showing it, but that's where I still get scared. What if because there's 4 days, this breaks down and it turns into a long leg doji reversal? See that's why I'm glad that it pulled up as far as it has right now. Because Crypto Plumber, what you're speaking of, if that bottom end wick falls out, it could turn into a reversal doji. So, but as of right now, you're damn right. It's smaller and the bulls are in control. As of right now, we're above the 200 EMA in the weekly, which is very important. And another important thing is we never retested this 82,000 drop point. So even if we're bearish, I could still build a resume where we could say, okay, we're going to come up there even if bearish, because we do have a rather large area here, ladies and gentlemen, where we have a lot of liquidity in the heat liquidation map. So we have a lot of liquidity to the top side. What do you mean log in to use this? Log in. Now it's making me log back in. I mean, every day it's some other nonsense with this. Let me pause this so you don't. Sorry, everybody. It's not that I don't trust you. It's not that I don't trust you, but you know, there are some people that would steal the information and do what they got to do. As you can see at 66K in the 3-day, we've created a lot of liquidity down there. But if you look at it in the monthly perspective, you can see there's going to be somewhere around 82K, 80K. Actually, wait a minute. That was actually in the higher one. Shit. Are we going to be able to see that? Ooh, that's way up there now. How the just keeps growing. 79, 80. We've got about the most liquidity in the 3 months is right in that area. And then we've got some over the top. There's not much that adds up in the 3 month, but you can see a small area there. Look at it refreshed again because it can't handle itself. Let's see how we're looking in the daily. A little bit over the top that we created, but we've definitely created some around 70K. If I didn't know any better, I would say the market is taking a peak right now. And we don't want to go down to 70K right now. You know, I would love to just say this is going to continue. And I wish I was wearing my hat, because maybe that's the problem. Maybe I took my hat off too early. I was running early and it was running nice, and now I took it off, and what the hell's going on? Like Frosty the Snowman here. When I wear a hat, the market goes up. If I take it off, it goes down. Does anybody notice that from today? I wore my hat earlier and it just surged. And now I'm not wearing it, and all of a sudden it's going down. Anyhow, small joke. Small joke. Bigfoot, welcome in. Don't expose yourself too much, Bigfoot. There's not a lot of snow outside here in Michigan. You might get caught. It says higher highs and lows. Yes, indeed. We do have higher highs and lows right now. And we broke out. See, we had lower highs, higher lows here from a high or a low, higher low, higher low. And we were coming down with lower highs. Broke out. So hopefully we can make a run at this, but it's tricky. Has it really been 54 minutes already? Wow. Time really does fly when you're around a group of people you like. I'll tell you what. When we get an announcement of $1 billion defense package, the money printers will turn on maybe. Cannabis Podcast, I think you're right about that. In the times of war, it's one of the easiest ways to print money. But another thing like that gets me Is like we talk about how we're all going to stand up and outrise and stuff, but isn't it against the Constitution to have an income tax and a tariff simultaneously? It's in our own Constitution, but I never hear anybody talk about that. You know, those are things that we can simply bring to the forefront and be united about. And that's a simple way to be united. And yet, our country, our people, most people think that the other country's paying the tariff, even though the country that imports it doesn't, that country that exports it never pays the tariff. It's the one who imports it. And the businesses aren't going to pay it, the people are. So, you know, it is what it is. So all we can do is try to be united here and try to figure these charts out so that we can try to stay ahead of the rate of return. Even XRP in the weekly. Even XRP in the weekly. It's trying to show a bit of a reversal here. We just need a little bit more pressure to the top side. Otherwise, we won't be able to take out that right shoulder. I have a couple theories on that cannabis podcast. One, most people know it's probably not going to do anything. It's just going to put them on the shit list in this digital era because it's so easy to get your information. But there's too much controlled opposition within our own country. So it makes it a little difficult. But yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that's what I would always point to. Oh man, this is brutal. We broke down. Fuck. Exactly what I said I didn't want to happen. Break below $1.42 before the candle closed. Damn. It's not a bona fide breakdown, but that is not a good sign. That is not a good candle close. These are turning into reversals. Oh yeah, that's a failed breakout attempt as of right now. So, you know, I mean, I secured some profit. I didn't secure all profit, but you know, I don't like to see these failed breakout attempts. I'll tell you that much. Tell you that much. That sucks. That is not a good candle close. That is not a good candle close for the end of the day. Looks like we're going to do the same thing as XDC, even if we can hold. Because XDC looks like it might be getting ready for something. Now the rest of them are... Ooh. XLM right now is about to pull through that... Oh, boy. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a correction tomorrow, probably. On the next daily. That's a... Oh. XRP just pulled down way... It didn't lose $1.41, but that just invalidated that move up. That's a bona fide rejection candle. Now we have to work on the next 4-hour candle and hope that it doesn't break down. That came down too far now. Damn. Absolutely, Elmer. You manifest what your own expectation is. That's why I try to manifest positivity in here. It doesn't always work. Damn, that sucks that it did that so quick. It's almost by design. They came on and talked about the expansion again with the war, and then all of a sudden, look at that. That's a horrible rejection. We're gonna come back down here now, probably to 845, and try to see. Damn. Yeah, I'm for the most part gonna step away. I think on most things right now and let it play out to this. Some things I caught like I did with XDC, but not everything. You know, with the maximum profit. Man, I don't like the way that ended today, though. That kind of sucks. Man. We just can't get outside of the box, folks. We just can't get outside the box. Every time we start to make a move. Nick, are you still in here? Absolutely, Crypto Plumber. It's never not okay to speak that. You speak what you've done and be proud of it. I'm proud was able to secure some profit here from these trades, but it could have been a lot better if we could have broke through. We'll see though. We'll see if somehow, some way, we can make some noise here. But that candle on XRP is not the most desirable where it pulled down. Hopefully it can pull back up here. But it did show a lot of pressure from the bears now. We've only got 23 minutes left. Let's see if we can get a profound pullback. Still got a nice 2-hourly, technically, if it could pull up higher, but we're running out of time now. Hopefully this pulls back. I mean, we need a miracle now. Not a miracle, but we need some confirmation now, likely after the close. We'll see though. Maybe we can take some of this momentum and start to flip it back to the top side. We just put ourselves in a little bit of a situation is all. It doesn't mean it's over. Doesn't mean it's over by any stretch. It doesn't mean you have to give up. It just means that the bears tried to show up here a little bit. And now what it means to me is probably for Ethereum will come down to 2,000. It'll probably be like what we seen with XDC, if I'm being honest. Remember how XDC yesterday came down instead of retesting all these levels? Essentially, that's probably what we're setting up for. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair assertion. That we're probably going to go along the lines of what XDC did. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that. It just looks like the market is looking to do something like that, possibly. XRP, we'll see if we can pull back far enough. Right now, we're down at the bottom of this box again. Had a wick come through. We set ourselves up in an interesting spot. Tom took it off his... It's over and we all know it. Well, I don't want to be so pessimistic. Maybe it's not. Look at XRP just pulled back up to $1.4282. So at least it didn't close under $1.42, at least as of now. Which Nick? Yeah, there are a lot of Nicks. Furby trades, only because what's happening? I picked up some puts on EOD. Might not be the worst thing in the world. No, what's going on is XRP has put itself in an interesting spot now with the way this is closing. I would almost argue saying that we got a spinning top here possibly too. But it's to the downs. I mean, fuck. And the volume was going down on every candle on the move up, which is never a good sign. Like, you had to push up, another one, but the candle, or the volume was breaking down to the point now where it's basically cut in 2/3. We still have never not had the target to 86 cents. We've been unable to break that $1.50. So you guys don't have to keep wondering that. Unless we break the $1.56 and get past that descending triangle, yes, that target can't change. Until we break over the descending triangle at $1.56 and ultimately take over that $2.02 or get past this downtrending resistance right here, that's still the valid target. Unless you break above it and flip it to support. But as of right now, we haven't even come close to doing that. We didn't even invalidate the head and shoulders yet. With left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And this 4-hour candle, as of right now, that's a rejection candle. We broke out, but we rejected the breakout in the short term. John Bugathorpe says, Tom, your real-time analysis of the price action is very much appreciated. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, XDC is what we're trying to watch for. If because maybe the rest of the market follows XDC with how it can see how this big consolidation happened. Maybe the rest of the market is in fact following XDC and is going to do something like this. Maybe it'll do something and it'll have a big pull down and then it'll try. And that's why I'm watching XDC to see if it can have a continuation here after the pull down. It's a day out of balance with the rest of the market. Let's see. But yeah, I mean, that's basically all I got. My voice is tired. My voice is really tired. Done a lot of work the last couple days. But before this closes, watch to see if we can get back above one. Well, I don't know if we're gonna get back above 145 at all. I guess the first thing would be see if we can even hold right now at $1.43. Dump it all. The faster we're done, or it's done, the sooner we'll get to the bottom, or get the bottom. Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a nice momentary movement, though. I mean, it was nice to see. But right now, we've just come up to that rejection box that could validate the further decline. Unfortunately for XRP. That's why I had this out here so synonymously before even the breakups. This particular chart. Because we really do have to get over this. If we don't get over this box and stay over it, it's a liquidity sweep. At least that's how I interpret it. What the hell? God, TradingView pissed me off so bad. Now it just screwed it up. TradingView is such a... But I digress, TradingView. You know how trash you are nowadays. Because it moved it way down here. Man, this really did screw it up. What the hell happened? I'm going to have to relook at this after this live now. But, oh, man. We got work to do. It's not over yet, but we definitely have work to do. At least we're at $1.43 now on the close. At least it didn't sink under $1.42 and stay for the close as of right now. But this is going to be a bona fide rejection candle where it's at right now in the 4-hourly, and it's going to depend on the next candle to see if it holds or not. Yeah, so we're going to have a lot of work in front of us after this candle closes. Would I be surprised to see some fall off after the daily candle close? Probably not, because that's when you're going to see the most violent part of the move if it is a contraction. And a lot of these are showing signs that, I mean, there is a little bit of top end pressure here. But when the stochastic gets like that, Trump bull trapped with that Truth Social post of his. I didn't even see it, to be honest. Totally Awesome says, thank you for the night stream. Appreciate it more than you know. I appreciate that. No, they don't. That's what the... That's a recession that they want in the Clarity Act, that they don't want there to be yield on tokens. That's part of one of the ways that they're trying to hit us, if I'm being honest. Hit us where it hurts kind of thing. So I just did a little bit of business. Okay. He posted about the Clarity Act and siding with people, not banks. Oh, yeah, so was that what brought us up earlier? Well, how convenient. At least, it's like every time I want to get excited, somehow, some way, it'll do something like it did and completely... Now, in the daily time frame, I ain't mad about that. If that is some kind... at least it's up there. I'm not mad about that. Could be worse. I mean, and a lot of these are at least going to close at a new high zone. So that's good. If you're listening to the song Song Square, written by Al Corley, his lyrics point to Super Bowl 61 Valentine's Day. Isn't that an interesting time? That would be interesting. Can we look at quant? I don't know if I have the physical mind to do it right now, to be honest. My mind is washed. I've done so much stuff. My mind is like right now. I gotta log off of here. It looks exactly like the rest of them. Inverse patterns, possible shoulder, head, shoulder, double bottom. It's all dependent on, is this pattern going to hold with this particular, in the daily. 4 hourlies are putting in small reversals possibly to contest or back test the move up. So I wouldn't be surprised if after this candle closes that we get a little bearish to back trace or back test this move up. I'll try to do a better look at quant later. I don't have the mental capacity or stability, right? Not stability, but you were pretty on point about the short-term move up. Yeah, but I don't want to say it's over just yet. I don't want to say it's over just yet before. I don't want to, call it now until I have to. But we still need to see a little bit more. Bitcoin is one thing that I'll say is trying to give us a little bit of solace here if we close where we're at. But we've had a lot of ability today to close over this section, and let's see what happens. Because right now we're to the top of this liquidity box. And if we can't get over this, it would be interesting. The technical move up was the move up to 72 to 73K, which we've achieved. That was the technical move up we were expecting. Now anything over the top is, it's questionable to see if we can hold. Because this descending wedge gave us a perfect push out. But even this has been fully exhausted. So maybe Bitcoin comes back to although 69K would make a lot of sense for Bitcoin too to come back to. Interesting. I would just say be cautious after the flip of the clock, because if we're going to get some kind of correction, it'll be after the clock. And then XDC, because it's basically a hold candle here, if something's going to happen, XDC would probably be the one that would benefit the most here. It's still on top of the 200-day and the 3-hourly, below the 4-hourly, but it's back tested in a big way this area. So let's see. Let's just see how this pans out. Again, after the flip of the clock, if we're going to get a correction, it's going to happen probably after the flip. So let's just see what kind of expansion / contraction we will get here. Yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. But just don't be surprised if we get some kind of red initially when this flip happens. Now, if it's in the best case scenario, we could find ourselves pushing out immediately. But looking across the board and looking at what it looks like we need to back test for Bitcoin somewhere around, or Ethereum at that 2066 level. It broke up, came to the resistance at 2170 area, roughly 2200, like we talked about yesterday. And now that looks like, would you call that that's a rather large pull down. It does seem like we're going to look for validation to see if we're able to hold. So that would be the next opportunity, guys. That would be the next opportunity if that's the case. XRP in the hourly. Man, that looks not ugly, but it looks ugly a little bit. But yeah, it is definitely back testing this little cup. You had a cup from right here, cup, breakout, back test. So yeah, we'll watch this, but I'm gonna go. Have a blessed evening, everybody, and we'll do this again tomorrow. I just gotta go. My voice is gonna go goodbye.